The divine voice, ever present yet often unheard, once again broke through the clamor of earthly concerns to address Jacob. After years of dwelling in Shechem, a place marked by both prosperity and profound distress, a new directive was issued from the Most High. God commanded Jacob to journey to Bethel, to settle there, and to erect an altar. This altar was to be dedicated to the God who had appeared to him in that very place, long ago, when he fled from the wrath of his brother Esau. It was a call to remember, to return to the source of his initial encounter with the Almighty. Jacob, understanding the gravity of this divine summons, turned to his household with solemn instructions. He gathered his family and all who sojourned with him, preparing them for a sacred pilgrimage. The journey ahead was not merely geographical, it was a spiritual cleansing. He commanded them to cast away the foreign gods that had found their way into their midst. These idols, remnants of pagan practices or acquired from surrounding cultures, represented a divided heart, an allegiance not solely to the God of Abraham and Isaac. Furthermore, Jacob instructed them to purify themselves and to change their garments. This act of ritual cleansing symbolized a shedding of the old, a preparation for a renewed covenant with the Holy One. It was a physical manifestation of an inner spiritual commitment. The purpose was clear. They were going to Bethel to build an altar to the God who had answered Jacob in his distress. This God had been with him through every trial, every deception, and every moment of fear, proving his faithfulness time and again. The household, recognizing the authority and spiritual weight of Jacob's words, responded with obedience. They surrendered all the foreign gods they possessed, relinquishing their hold on these false deities. This act was a profound testament to their willingness to follow Jacob's lead. They also handed over their earrings, which often held superstitious or idolatrous significance in ancient cultures. These items, once symbols of personal adornment or pagan belief, were now laid aside as they prepared to meet the one true God. As Jacob and his company embarked on their journey, a palpable sense of divine protection enveloped them. A terror from God fell upon the surrounding towns, a supernatural dread that deterred any potential adversaries. This fear ensured their safe passage. No one dared to pursue Jacob's sons, despite the recent violent events in Shechem. The hand of God shielded them, clearing their path and safeguarding their pilgrimage to the sacred site. It was a clear demonstration of divine favor and protection. Finally, after their divinely protected travels, Jacob and all who were with him arrived at Luz, which is in the land of Canaan. This ancient city, known to Jacob from his youth, was the very place God had designated for their return. Jacob then built an altar there, fulfilling the divine command. This act was not merely a construction of stones, but a profound declaration of worship and remembrance. It marked the culmination of their journey and the beginning of a renewed spiritual chapter. He named the place El Bethel, meaning God of Bethel. This renaming served as a powerful reminder of the reason for its sanctity. God had revealed himself there to Jacob when he fled from his brother Esau, marking it as a place of divine encounter. Amidst the sacred renewal at Bethel, a somber event unfolded. Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, passed away. She had been a steadfast presence in Jacob's family, a link to his mother's past, and her death brought a moment of quiet grief. She was buried under an oak tree below Bethel, a place that would forever bear the mark of her passing. This tree became known as Alon-Bakuth, which means Oak of Weeping, a poignant memorial to a life of faithful service. Following this moment of sorrow, God reappeared to Jacob, reaffirming his presence and his promises. This divine encounter at Bethel was a powerful confirmation of his covenant. a moment of profound spiritual significance for Jacob. God blessed him once more, reiterating the blessings first bestowed upon Abraham and Isaac. This reaffirmation underscored the continuity of the covenant and Jacob's central role in its unfolding. It was a moment of divine grace and renewed purpose. In this sacred encounter, God formally changed Jacob's name to Israel. This renaming was not a mere alteration of identity, but a profound spiritual transformation. It signified a new character, a new destiny, and a new relationship with the divine. The name Israel, meaning he struggles with God, or God strives, encapsulated Jacob's journey of wrestling with both divine and human forces. It marked him as a prince with God, a testament to his perseverance and faith. God then spoke forth his covenant promises, echoing the ancient vows made to his forefathers. He promised Jacob fruitfulness and multiplication, ensuring the continuation and expansion of his lineage. This was a foundational promise for the future nation. He declared that a nation and an assembly of nations would descend from him. This prophecy looked beyond immediate family to the vast multitude that would spring from Jacob, forming a people set apart for God's purposes. Furthermore, God promised that kings would come from his lineage, foreshadowing the royal line that would eventually lead to David and ultimately to the Messiah. This promise elevated Jacob's descendants to a position of significant leadership and influence. The land promise, first given to Abraham and then to Isaac, was now explicitly reaffirmed to Jacob and his descendants. This sacred inheritance was a cornerstone of the covenant, assuring them of a homeland where they would dwell and flourish. After delivering these profound promises, God departed from Jacob, leaving him in the awe of the divine encounter. The presence of the Almighty had been tangible, and its departure left an indelible mark on Jacob's spirit. In response to this momentous revelation, Jacob set up a memorial stone in the place where God had spoken with him. This pillar served as a physical reminder of the sacred encounter, a testament to God's faithfulness and presence. He poured out a libation upon the stone, an act of worship and dedication. This offering symbolized his gratitude and devotion to the God who had met him there. It was a solemn act of consecration. He also poured oil on the stone, further sanctifying it as a monument to the divine presence. This anointing marked the place as holy, a site where heaven had touched earth. Jacob then renamed the site Bethel, acknowledging God's enduring presence there. This act solidified the spiritual significance of the location, ensuring that future generations would remember it as the house of God. Departing from Bethel, Jacob and his company continued their journey, but the path ahead held both new life and profound sorrow. As they traveled from Bethel, they were still some distance from Ephrath when Rachel went into labor. Her labor was exceedingly difficult, a time of great distress and suffering. The pain was immense, and the struggle for life was fierce, casting a shadow over the anticipation of a new birth. Tragically, Rachel succumbed to the ordeal and died in childbirth. Her passing was a devastating loss for Jacob, the beloved wife for whom he had labored so many years. Her death marked a deep sorrow in his heart. With her dying breath, Rachel named her son Ben-Oni, meaning son of my sorrow, a poignant reflection of her final moments. This name encapsulated the pain and grief surrounding his birth. However, Jacob, in his grief and hope, renamed the child Benjamin, meaning son of the right hand. This name carried connotations of strength, favor, and blessing, transforming sorrow into a promise of future significance. Rachel was buried on the road to Ephrath, which is now known as Bethlehem. Her grave became a landmark, a perpetual reminder of her life and her tragic passing, a place of pilgrimage and remembrance. Jacob, in his enduring love and grief, erected a monument over Rachel's grave. This pillar stood as a lasting tribute to his beloved wife, a testament to her place in his heart and in the history of his family. As Jacob moved on from that place of sorrow, pitching his tent beyond Migdal Eder, another distressing event occurred within his household. This incident brought further pain and dishonor to the family. Reuben, Jacob's firstborn son, committed a grave transgression. He slept with Bilhah, Jacob's concubine, who was also the mother of two of his half-brothers Dan and Naphtali. This act was a profound betrayal of his father's trust and a violation of family honor. Jacob was greatly offended by Reuben's actions. Though the text does not immediately record his verbal response, the depth of his offense would later be revealed in his dying blessings, where Reuben's birthright was diminished. Despite the trials and tribulations, the lineage of Jacob, now Israel, continued to grow and solidify. The narrative pauses to list Jacob's 12 sons, the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel, a testament to God's promise of multiplication. From Leah, his first wife, came Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. These 6 sons formed a significant portion of the future nation, each destined to lead a powerful tribe. From Rachel, his beloved wife, came Joseph and Benjamin. Though few in number, these 2 sons would play pivotal roles in the unfolding history of Israel, particularly Joseph, who would save his family from famine. From Bilhah, Rachel's maidservant, came Dan and Naphtali. These sons, born through a surrogate, were nonetheless counted among the 12, fulfilling the promise of a numerous offspring. From Zilpah, Leah's maidservant, came Gad and Asher. Like Bilhah's sons, they were integral to the formation of the 12 tribes, each contributing to the diverse tapestry of Israel. These 12 sons, born to Jacob, were the foundational patriarchs. They were the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel, the chosen people through whom God's covenant promises would be fulfilled and his redemptive plan would unfold. After these significant events, Jacob returned to his father Isaac in Hebron. This reunion brought Jacob back to the ancestral lands, completing a long and arduous journey that had begun with his flight from Esau many years prior. Isaac, having lived a long and full life, reached the venerable age of 180 years. He had witnessed the fulfillment of many of God's promises, seeing his sons grow and his lineage begin to flourish. He died as an old man, full of days, and was gathered to his people. His passing marked the end of an era, the transition of patriarchal leadership from Isaac to his sons, particularly Jacob. Isaac was buried by his sons, Esau and Jacob, together. This shared act of mourning and respect symbolized a reconciliation between the estranged brothers, a final moment of unity in the face of their father's death.